As mayor, one of the greatest responsibilities is to keep our residents safe and secure. One of the biggest challenges of America we face in meeting this responsibility is preventing criminals from illegally obtaining guns and using them. I am very proud of my record on the issue of gun and gun violence, and I am grateful for the support of so many people and organizations from all across Chicago and Illinois who work very hard to protect all of our communities and our children from gun violence and have worked to enact reasonable and common sense gun laws at the state and federal levels. But I've often said gun violence is not just a Chicago problem or an urban problem. It truly is an American problem. In 1 year, on average, almost 100,000 people in America are shot or killed with a gun. I know that the NRA and the gun industry, and I say the gun industry, are proud of their efforts to stand in the way of common sense gun legislation. But the sad fact remains, gun violence numbers are something our country should be embarrassed about every day. And so in addition to our work at the state and local levels, we have established national partnerships aimed at developing innovative policies supporting legislation that helps law enforcement target illegal guns and make our communities safer. And that's why I'm pleased to be here with Congressman Quigley and other gun advocates and some victims of gun violence to draw special attention to the deadly problems that exist in our country's gun background check system. The truck behind us has begun a 2-month national tour in support of an online campaign that urges Congress to take 2 simple but critical steps to fix the broken background check system. First, ensure that the names of all people prohibited from buying a gun are in the database. Second, subject every gun sale to a background check. The tour has been organized by Mayors Against Illegal Guns, a coalition of almost 500 cities and small towns, of which Chicago is a founding member, with Mayor Michael Bloomberg of New York, Mayor Tom Menino of Boston are co-chairs. Each mayor in this coalition has signed its statement of principles, committing us to a common goal, protecting the rights of America to own guns while fighting to keep criminals from possessing guns illegally. The shortfalls and gaps in our national background check system have deadly consequences. They allow people like Tucson shooter, the Virginia Tech shooter, Fort Hood shooter, Northern Illinois shooter, all of whom had histories of serious mental illness, to purchase guns. These shortfalls and gaps also allow people with criminal histories to purchase guns that are used every day to kill people from our communities and our cities. Since the campaign began in January, more than 250,000 people have signed an online petition and urged the President and Congress to fix the system. As the truck sadly shows, in the short span of 7 weeks since the shooting of Tucson, more than 1,300 or more people have been killed with guns in the United States. Our people want laws like those we are calling for today. Last year, Mayors Against Illegal Guns commissioned a poll that showed that there is a lot of common ground between NRA members and non-members on some gun laws. For example, the polls show that 69% of NAR members and 85% of non-NRA gun owners support background checks for all gun sales at gun shows. Passing legislation to close the gun show loophole, fix the background check system, has been a part of Chicago's federal agenda for many, many years. We know it's a very difficult task. We have a well-funded opponent in the gun industry, which spends millions of dollars every year in Washington and Springfield with their lobbyists. But their money and their influence have not stopped us before. It won't stop us this year. I also want to provide an update on actions in Springfield regarding guns. Right now, the NRA and the gun industry is very, very hard at work. In Springfield, our state is at risk of taking enormous steps backward in the fight against illegal guns. Last week in Springfield, the House committee voted to eliminate the rights of Illinois cities to regulate guns. The vote was 13-1. This bill would basically invalidate the City of Chicago's new handgun ordinance that we put in place last year after the Supreme Court said we could no longer ban handguns. It also invalidates restrictions and limits on guns that other cities and towns in Illinois have put in place. It would prevent all Illinois cities and towns from placing any restrictions or limits on guns in the future. Next week, the Illinois House Committee will vote on a bill to allow Illinois residents to carry concealed weapons. Although we have been able to stop this bill in the past, there are rumors that the NRA and the gun industry has finally worn down even some of the Democrats in the Illinois General Assembly. These are not Chicago issues. Every resident and business in Illinois should be concerned when the rights of their city or town to protect public safety are in jeopardy, when our state lawmakers think our state will be safer if people can carry concealed weapons around with them on a daily basis, any place in Illinois. Every resident should be on the phone right now calling their state representative or their state senator to oppose these bills. We need the citizens of Illinois and the state and Chicago to stand up for their rights to live in safe communities. Common sense gun laws that keep weapons out of the hands of those who shouldn't have them, and that hold manufacturers, gun dealers, and gun owners to high standards can both support the Second Amendment and protect us. Thank you.
First, I want to thank Mayors Against Illegal Guns for their efforts and those advocates which gave me petitions today toward this end from thousands of citizens concerned about gun violence. I also want to say that we all owe an extraordinary debt of gratitude to Mayor Daley for his years of service on all issues, but particularly those as state's attorney and as mayor of the city of Chicago for his really national efforts to move toward reasonable gun control and protect citizens across our country. So thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, when the Supreme Court ruled, a lot of folks thought that when they struck down the McDonnell gun case, well, you can do whatever you want. If you actually read the decision, they said there are extraordinary strong limits still in place. If you read the language, the right to bear arms is not, quote, a right to keep and carry any weapon whatsoever, in any manner whatsoever, and for whatever purpose. Incorporation does not imperil every law regulating firearms. Folks, what they were saying is not everybody can have a gun. Not any gun they want, and not everywhere they want. Let's just talk about two aspects of that. Any kind of gun. What you see here in front of you, in some cases, are high-volume clips with assault weapons, right? When you have a 30-round clip, you are not doing anything to do with the Second Amendment. You aren't protecting your home, you aren't protecting your business, and you aren't hunting. With a 30-round clip, you're hunting people. That is all there is to it. I think even the Supreme Court recognized that with their decision. So it's something that Congress needs to act on. Second, the gun show loophole. That has more to do with who has the gun. The absurdity of the gun show loophole is you can go in 25 minutes to Indiana and find a gun show from right where you are and buy anything you want without a background check. You can be on a terrorist watch list. I'm going to O'Hare to go to D.C. after this. If you're on a terrorist watch list, you're not getting on the plane. You can be on a terrorist watch list and buy a weapon just like this. It's about local security and national security as well. You could just assaulted your spouse and threatened to kill your spouse. You could have a court order keeping you away from your spouse. You could be on a database for that and still go to a gun show and buy whatever you want. You can be a convicted felon and go buy whatever you want. Real close to home, folks. You could have been adjudicated as dangerously mentally ill and go buy a truckload of guns, not just handguns, folks, assault weapons, without a background check. So let me just tell you what Congress has done toward that end, which perhaps should not inspire you. Under the 111th Congress, how many hearings were held dealing with gun issues at all? 0. Not one. When we advocated for a hearing on the gun show loophole, supported by the vast majority of Americans and even the majority of NRA members, we were told we couldn't have one. we finally were allowed a briefing. We could call it a briefing because that wouldn't offend the NRA. So we had a briefing on the gun show loophole. Scary. What passed in the 111th Congress? A disclosed Reform Act on finance reform. The first exception created by this reform legislation on campaign finance was for the NRA. What two bills passed dealing with handguns? One that allowed you to bring in concealed carry handguns into national parks. Just in case Smokey Bear gets out of hand, you can take care of him. And by the way, with another bill, you can now bring guns on Amtrak. So if you all feel safer after all that, you're alone. When the McDonald gun case came before the Supreme Court, my staff, working with Mayor Daley, helped with an amicus brief and asked members of our body to sign on to it. A total of 54 other members signed on to that amicus brief defending the McDonald gun case. Out of 435, 275 members signed on to the other brief saying, strike down Chicago's handgun ban. This shows you where you're at. Let me close by saying this. The Holt family is here. For those of you who don't know, Blair Holt was a young man on the way home from school who jumped in front of a shooter. He jumped in front of a bullet to defend someone he knew, right? And he was killed because of that. If one of our youngest can take a bullet, our lawmakers in Springfield and our lawmakers in D.C. can take at least one tough vote to protect everyone in this room. Thank you.